Yeah.
All right. Oh, we're recording. Okay. Gotta share screen. Present. Hooray! All right. So, crud. That's annoying. Here we go. So, hi. I'm Kai, as you may or may not know, and I worked on the animation and presentation aspects of the project. I also did a little writing. So you might be wondering, why out of all the potential projects would you do what is basically just an essay? Well, technically, you might not have wondered that, but that's what the script I wrote says, so let's just assume that you did. Anyways, the reason why is China is a really interesting place. Interesting history, culture, geography. The list just goes on, and our school block is about China. So it just seems natural that our project be all about, to put it simply, cool Chinese stuff. So many cool things have come out of China, so it was hard to decide which things to focus on. But we got through the indecision, and here we are. All right, Truman.
Okay. Wait. Don't have my notes up, but
you could just read from the screen.
Just read it.
Okay. Hi, I'm Truan, and I studied and made some of the paintings of the gunpowder and the Chinese cannon. So, and here, as you may have seen, is the write-up of the Chinese cannon. Originally, when the Chinese made gunpowder, it was supposed to be a potion of immortality, but it turned out to be a potion of death. The potion of eternal life turned out to be a potion of a invention of destruction. Gunpowder was invented in the Song Dynasty. The formula for gunpowder was made up of 3 chemicals: sulfur, charcoal, and potassium nitrate, or saltpeter. The people who invented gunpowder by accident were Zhang Gongling, Ding Du, and Wu Jing Zhongyao. And their invention had a huge hand in world history. Gunpowder also led to many other inventions, such as the cannon and grenades. These weapons changed warfare tremendously. Eventually, guns would come from this invention, and warfare would be a whole lot more deadly.
Ancient Chinese grenade here by Talus, so I'm not exactly certain what it is, but I'm guessing it's to hurt people. Gunpowder animated. So you should know, since this is a Google presentation thing, it only accepts GIFs. So here, it starts now. And that's why it started in the middle, because GIFs play endlessly.
They play in the back.
These are the key ingredients of saltpeter. Here's the last one. Well, no, actually that was, yep. And heat to make it explode.
We should mention, Kai, didn't you say this animation alone took about a week's worth of work?
Yeah, about a week. And maybe a day to animate completely.
Quite labor-intensive in animation.
Yeah.
It worked really well.
Indeed.
This is my favorite one for sure. The umbrella by Talus.
Alice and of the umbrella and the gunpowder, and I did the write-up of the movie and the umbrella. The umbrella was invented in 3500 BC. It was first used for keeping dry from the rain, and then used for shading the sun. The sunshade umbrella became known as a parasol. The frame of the umbrella was made of bamboo and mulberry. The wood had to dry for at least 5 years before you could use it. The top was made of oiled paper or silk. They used oiled paper to repel the water. At first, only royal and very wealthy people could afford it. Then, as time went on, the design got more advanced and the cost went down. The top of the umbrella was decorated with different paintings like people, animals, and symbols. They weighed only a few hundred grams and became a fashion piece for wealthy females. Over time, they became a symbol of power. Back then, if you were royal, you would own a red or a yellow umbrella. Umbrella comes from the word umbra, which means shadow. The legend of the umbrella is that Lu Bon, carpenter and inventor, was inspired by using lotus leaves as a rain cover, and he created an umbrella, making a flexible frame and covering it in cloth.
Ancient parasol thingy. I'm assuming this is made with the same method that Talus described. Or maybe it's just a cheap counterfeit copy. But anyways, it's a cool drawing.
Hey,
You-
that is drawn from an ancient picture. I know this from my conversations with Talis. She put quite a bit of effort into this.
It's a very good
No, I'm
drawing.
saying I'm not talking about the drawing itself, but maybe the umbrella that was drawn.
Oh yeah, I think it had an ancient source, didn't
But
it, Talis?
I said the drawing's good
Indeed it is.
with pencils, I think, not watercolor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the umbrella animated, demonstrating the ability of certain bipedal creatures with opposable thumbs to open hydrodispersing devices or umbrellas. It's not very educational compared to the other one.
Hydrodispelling, at the least.
Mm-hmm. No, but it's cute, I guess. So.
And the way that it pushes the rain away is great.
Mm-hmm. Nice. All right. This is my reading, so I don't have to say over to you or whatever. No, wait, I already introduced myself. It's generally agreed that the Chinese abacus, or swan pond, was invented sometime during the 11th century, and evidence of swan ponds has been traced as far back as the spring and autumn period, or around 701 to 476 BCE. The swan pond is regarded as the first abacus that utilized beads on bars, making it the forerunner of the better-known image of the European abacus. Use of the swan pond later spread to Korea, and there the swan pond morphed into the soroban, a close relative of the swan pond that had only one bead above the dividing bar rather than two beads, and four beads below the dividing bar rather than five. Calculating with sorobans is used today in many Japanese and Chinese elementary schools today, as a way of reinforcing and teaching math concepts. It employs a faster method of calculating than the older swan pond, the complementary method of calculating rather than the slower exchange method used by the swan pond. The swan pond was as fast or faster than almost all methods of calculating employed by other devices, such as the slide rule, until early 1972, when the Hewlett-Packard HP35 scientific calculator was unveiled, and all iterations of the swan pond or calculus were made pretty much obsolete.
That's amazing.
Thank you. I think this is Josie's drawing. Oh yeah, you can see. Maybe you can't see. Maybe you can, but that's says by Josie. And the red beads here represent decimals. Actually, I don't know if ancient Chinese swan ponds had that, but that's cool.
This is how we did it in our math class, where we built them. We each built our own. Josie, is this one painted from the one that you built?
Yeah, kind of.
Looks very accurate.
And I know the answer to Kai's question. They didn't do it usually on one, so they had one swan pond that was for decimals and one that was for whole.
Oh. Whoa, so you could go into really huge accurate numbers. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, this is the swan pond animated.
That is great.
So each of these represent one bead. So you exchange for 5, that's 10. That equals 15 together. A 10 and a 5. It's pretty short, but
short and to the point.
Yep. Oh, the compass by Josie.
Hi, my name is Josie, and I drew the toothbrush, swan pond, and compass. I wrote about the compass and the Great Wall of China. One of the great inventions of the Chinese is the magnetic compass. While mining, the Chinese found a natural mineral magnetite that they nicknamed lodestone. Lode means journey or way. It is made of iron oxide and is a blackish-brownish color. When it is freely suspended on a string, it will align itself with the Earth's magnetic field. This was man's first experience with magnetism, which led to the invention of the magnetic compass by the Chinese during the Han Dynasty, about 206 BC. The Chinese magnetic compass uses a flat bronze plate, the lodestone, that is carved into a spoon shape. As the plate moves, the lodestone sits in the center and spins around. The lodestone lines itself up with the Earth's magnetic field and comes to a stop with the handle pointing south. The bronze plate, which represents the Earth is marked with the 8 main directions, constellations, cardinal points, and other important Chinese symbols. The center of the plate is called heaven, and the lodestone symbolizes the Great Bear constellation. At first, the Chinese fortune tellers used lodestone to make their fortune-telling boards. After a while, it was discovered that lodestones were better at pointing out simple directions, which led to the creation of the first compass. The early compass showed people direction for laying out buildings and locating their homes and businesses, aligning buildings with the direction of north, east, south, and west. It's what the Chinese called feng shui. The compass was further developed when magnetized needles were used as direction pointers instead of the spoon-shaped lodestone. Between 850 and 1050, compasses had become common as navigational devices used on ships and were starting to be used around the world. The first person recorded to have used the compass for navigation was Zheng Ha from the Yan'an province in China. He made 7 ocean voyages between 1405 and 1433. In 1825, British inventor William Sturgeon invented the compass using electromagnetism, which used an electric sensor instead of a natural mineral. Before the compass was invented, people had to use the stars, moon, and sun. In cloudy weather, it was easy to get lost. The compass points you in the right direction no matter the weather or time of day. Although there are many different kinds of compasses, the Chinese magnetic compass is still being used today. One major change is that the ancient Chinese compass points south, and today compasses point north. This is because the Earth's magnetic field is constantly changing, and it has flipped since the early compasses were used. In closing, the compass has helped many people navigate for centuries. The lodestone and bronze plate compass invented by the Chinese paved the way for more instruments that allowed explorers to navigate the seas and change the course of history.
Right. Nice.
That's great. I want to throw one thing in here for the audience that'll be seeing it, that Josie talked about how Zhonghua was the first person to use one, and he was the center figure in the story they just spent this unit working with.
Pretty cool.
So that was pretty cool.
Zhonghua was a real innovator for sure. Sort of. Oh no, stuff happened. I shouldn't have clicked. All right. As you can see, this is probably the compass that Josie described, with all the complex Chinese ideographs, pictographs, characters, whatever they are.
And symbols, yeah.
Whoops. Anyways, Tabor.
So, hi, I'm Tabor. I'm part of the animation group. I've written about the toothbrush and paper. Right now, I'm going to give you a basic overview of the history on the toothbrush. So, starting in 1600 BC, the first toothbrush ever came out, the chew stick. The chew stick was a branch that was broken off from trees. Aromatic trees were the best because they freshened up the breath, i.e. cinnamon, sassafras, or even tea tree and walnut. The end was chewed so it was frayed. The frayed end knocked out little bits of food and freshened up the breath. In 1498, the Ming Dynasty, the chew stick evolved into a brush almost like modern times, except the bristles were made from boar hairs. The hair wasn't really satisfactory, so they changed the brush to horsehair. Over the centuries, the toothbrush has evolved into the modern time brushes that we use today. There are more types of toothbrushes. Chew stick, 1600 BC, feather brush and bristle brush, 15th century, horsehair brush, 1530, and modern time brush, 1938. So throughout all the centuries' ingenuity, ideas, and theories, the toothbrush has become one of the most evolved inventions in the world.
Oh, thank you, Tabor. Very well. Very much indeed. And the ancient Chinese toothbrush. I don't know if it has boar bristles. I'm guessing boar bristles because they're kind of dark and stiff looking.
Well, the caption here says horsehair.
Yeah. No, you're right. I wasn't reading my own caption. This is by Josie. So, yeah, kudos, Josie. Cool toothbrush thing. Oh, yeah, and the toothbrush animated, and it started in the middle, just like all the dang GIFs. Here's
the beginning. The little red dot somehow.
I love the smile.
I love that smile.
Anyways, I don't know if you want to run through that again. Maybe we should.
Yeah, just one last time here.
Yeah. Didn't get it first time?
It's a lot of fun.
Too funny. How much time would you say this one took, Kai, to accomplish?
Not the same amount.
Oh, really?
Maybe
Wow.
a little less. Because I knew more about animation the next time around.
Right.
Anyways, Great Wall of China by Josie.
Construction on the Great Wall of China began in 221 BC. Emperor Qin Shi Huang ordered that it was to protect the northern borders from nomadic groups, such as the Mongols, that were invading the Chinese emperor. Construction continued for several centuries, and each new emperors sent workers to repair the building and build sections. As weapons improved, it became less effective at keeping invaders out. In 1211 AD, Genghis Khan invaded and conquered China. With the first phase of building, the materials used were packed earth, stone, and wood during the Ming Dynasty. Building continued with brick, tile, lime, and stone. Approximately 400,000 workers, who were mostly soldiers and prisoners, died among the construction. Some were even buried among the bricks. At one time, the Great Wall stretched about 13,170 miles from east to west. This is like traveling the United States and Canadian border 2.5. As of 2015, it is 5,500 miles long and outlines the southern edge of Inner Mongolia. Approximately
$873 million.
Yeah. Bricks were used.
Wow.
The height of the wall ranged from 16 to 26 feet high. There were over 10,000 watchtowers used to watch enemy movements. The first and second stories of the towers were for living quarters and storage of weapons, grain, and fuel. Over time, the Great Wall lost its political importance, but remains as one of the seven wonders. It is the largest construction of the world, but parts of it have fallen into ruins from weather or being destroyed. Today, it attracts tourists to walk along its path.
Great Wall of China. We didn't really have time to make a cool hand-drawn image, although I probably could have done that if I'd really pressed myself.
This is a pretty nice representation, though. Now, is this accurate to current times, Josie, or is this from an older time?
This is current times, you can see from the tourists.
Can't really tell, but I'll take your word on it.
Look at the one lying down in a t-shirt and jeans.
Oh, probably taking a selfie. Okay, never mind.
Pretty cool, though. Still impressive.
Indeed, very much so.
I mean, the fact that it's just existed this long to crumble now is like crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, movable type. I hope I didn't skip anything. Did I? I did not.
I think that's it.
Okay. Between 1041 and 1048, is
ceramist means the person that works in ceramics.
Ceramist known as Beijing invented the movable type printing press. Because the Chinese alphabet was primarily made up of pictographs and ideographic rather than alphabetic characters, movable type printing did not advance in China at this time. When movable type printing was first invented in ancient China, it was made from clay and glue hardened by baking. You compose text by placing the type pieces side by side on an iron plate coated with a mixture of resin, wax, and paper ash. Shen Ku wrote that during the Qinghai region period, 1041 through 1048, under Emperor Renzong of the Song Dynasty, 1022 through 1063, an obscure commoner and artisan known as Bai Sheng invented ceramic movable type printing. Making movable type printing was very time-consuming. You had to carve each character individually out of the hardened clay and glue. For this reason, it did not become popular until much later.
And here we are. This is actual movable type printing. Like, showcasing, I mean, how much work?
It's amazing.
I don't know.
Do we know the size of
mind-boggling.
this? Kai, or tell us, do we know the size of this image? For example, how wide the whole piece is? And how...
I would guess, since, a character wouldn't be that big, Also, if this would be in, 14-point font, I don't know, I'm guessing that'd be like a foot.
Yeah, plus, come to think of it, it had to fit on a piece of paper, so it couldn't be too big.
Mm-hmm.
And
but,
they're talking about it as movable type, but does that mean they can take these characters and move them different places?
Correct, for different sentences.
Yeah, but I think that this was an entire page that they made.
Very likely, yeah.
I don't know, maybe, so it's sort of like movable type, because you can move all of those letters, but it's not modular movable type, as you'd put it.
How do you mean? I think that was my understanding from what Talis said, was that each character is individually carved.
But do you
yes, each character has been individually carved on this thing.
Sorry, what was your question, Beth?
I'm kind of with Kai on this. It looks to me like, it doesn't look like you could take each word out.
Oh, yeah, it's hard to know.
I think this is like, I don't know, some important script was copied onto this so they could mass produce it.
Mm-hmm. That makes more sense.
It's a little bit more like an etching, I think.
Yeah, but the principle is the same. It's just all in one block.
You can do over to print.
One piece rather than 200.
Yes.
Right. I want to show you guys one interesting thing. I think, can you see my cursor on there?
Is yours the red one? No.
This is fine.
Okay, so take your red one and go over to the third, right there. Now go up, and stop when I say stop. Go down, down.
Oh.
Right there. That character right there means man or human being.
Yeah, you're right. We did that one.
You can see it all through this. See, it's in there over and over. And I learned that from one of my good friends when I was little. She's Chinese, and she taught me that symbol, and I never forgot.
Any others?
Yep.
This one, I can't remember what this means. I think
well spotted.
That looks a lot like this character I've seen before called, it means it's means life or something. Because in Aikido, this is like the top one right there. So that's a martial discipline where you spin people around and stuff like that. But there's three things that make up the sort of three syllables of Aikido, and the top one, the first one meaning I or something like that, is that.
I see.
Similar. So this is an interesting script here. I really would like to know exactly what it means.
It'll be fun for you to study it and see.
Yeah, but anyways, we digress, I suspect.
Well, yes and no. Where did this image come from?
Google.
Well, let's go on to the canon, yeah.
Yeah. Did you not understand me? Sorry, I said Google.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Searched movable type printing. Anyways.
Yeah, but where Google found it is the next question, but we'll get to that another time.
Mm-hmm. The canon by Truan, please.
The Chinese cannon was basically a hollow metal tube meant to use gunpowder to launch a projectile into the enemy. It wasn't the complex device we use today. The cannon was more useful than the trebuchet. because it had a better wall-destroying power. Castles crumbled under a hail of cannonballs. The cannon was also better than the bow in terms of range. The cannon could launch a maximum distance of 1 mile. The sound of the cannon shooting could be heard up to 10 miles away. The cannon spread into many different countries, and everybody quickly adopted the new weapon. Anybody who didn't have it was at a disadvantage. The cannon has been present in most battles since. The cannon was by far one of the greatest inventions that came from the use of gunpowder, besides the gun.
By the way, just as a note here, that Truan really knows about the trebuchet, and in fact, he wrote a whole piece entitled, was it The Handsome Trebuchet?
Yes.
So, which was really great, told from the point of view, a battle described from the perspective of the trebuchet.
Into charcoal at the end.
Alas.
I'm eager to read that, Truan.
It's pretty cool.
Yep.
Thank you. Next slide. And
this is a really cool watercolor painting of an ancient cannon by Truan.
By Truan. Okay, that really stands
the way
out.
Everything's sort of outlined in red. Cannonballs are good too.
What made you choose to do that in a red outline, Truan?
It was kind of like, it was a warfare weapon. And was always going to be used in war. It wasn't like it was supposed to be used as a decoration. Well, sometimes it was used as a decoration, but...
Maybe, or in a monument. But yeah, that's very dramatic.
Yeah, it was a
really good
weapon. I just thought it'd be good to cover it in maybe red because that's like the most
contrast with the blue.
Yeah, nicely done.
Yep. Nice. Paper by Tabor.
Paper was invented by the Chinese in the Han Dynasty 105 AD. Records show that Cai Lun, an official of the imperial court, reported the invention to the Han Emperor, Ho Di. Most of the time, writing was done on bamboo or silk, but most of the silk was very expensive, and bamboo was heavy to carry around. Cai Lun changed that by pounding the bark fibers of the mulberry tree into a sheet of paper. Later in the century, people found that the quality of paper could be improved by adding rags and fishing net to the pulp. The extravagance of the invention was astounding. Almost everyone in China wanted paper. It was passed on the Silk Road, a route throughout most of Asia and Europe. Within a few years, it was used for writing. Later, around 600 AD, Chinese woodblock printing came out, and in 740 AD, the first Chinese newspaper was invented. The art of papermaking was then moved east to Korea, where paper production began as early as the 6th century. The pulp soon modified it into a mix of hemp fibers, rattan, mulberry, bamboo, rice straw, and seaweed. The Chinese guarded the secrets of papermaking until 751 AD, when the Ottoman Turks defeated the Tang army at the Talas River. The Arabs captured some Chinese papermakers and soldiers and brought them to Samarkand. The Arabs soon learned how to make paper, and they began a mass production in Baghdad in 793 AD. Like the Chinese, they too kept the art of papermaking a secret, and the Europeans didn't learn how to make paper until several centuries later. The Egyptians learned papermaking from the Arabs in the 10th century, and around 1100 AD, paper had arrived in North Africa. By 1150 AD, the Crusades brought paper to Spain, and the first paper industry established in Europe. In 1453 AD, Johann Gutenberg invented the printing press, and the first American paper industry was built in Philadelphia in 1690.
Quite nice. Thank you, Tabor. This might be confusing to anybody who hasn't made paper, as I have, and so has my mom. But you dip the screen into that tub of, hopefully it'll be high quality cotton pulp or whatever pulped fiber you like, and then you gently draw it out, leaving the fiber to sort of in a dispersed sort of thin sheet. Of course, it's wet, so you leave it to dry. Well, actually, you have to first transfer the mat of pulp from the screen onto a smooth surface, and then leave it to dry. And then you have paper. It's quite cool, actually. guy in Astoria does these workshops where you can make paper and get some high quality handmade paper stuff. Where's my mouse? Right, it's lost. Ah! Oh, that's the end.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Want
Let
to
me
stick
have a
around and see the sources? That's cool, but I'd
Just
prefer-
go ahead and click to those 2 pages. I think you have a couple pages of your sources listed. Just go ahead and click
Yep.
through them.
There,
And the next
there,
one. Yeah, great.
and there,
Very good.
and there.
Oh,
and there.
quite. All right, 5 pages of sources.
That's it.
Well done.
That was really wonderful. As you went through it, I was thinking about all the inventions and discoveries that you listed. Each of them had a real impact on what happened in history and therefore in the story that you read. So when you got to the end to paper, and there, I didn't realize that it was so late that Europe brought in paper. But Kublai Khan really did write a book, or his people wrote a book for him to preserve what had happened. And that book was found, which is how we know about it. If they hadn't had the ability to do that quicker writing that they kept secret, we probably would have no record of Kublai Khan, because all that was wiped out in that war that you heard about.
Oh, that's true.
So interesting, you should end on paper, and we get to see that what we just learned, we wouldn't know if it wasn't for the fact that they had paper stored secretly.
That's what we call.
It should have been added to the paper document.
That's what we call auspicious coincidence or suspicious coincidence.
Should have pointed that out. Oh man.
Great.
Great.